Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 362. If the news got any faster, we'd be going light speed. This is unbelievable. Everything's happening, but we'll handle it one step at a time. Put a news freeze at my door so I can't get anything else in. Well, that ain't gonna happen. I wear a watch and stuff, so if I get breaking news, I'll give it to y'all. But thank y'all for tuning in to the JP8 report. Nice day outside, though. Let's see. As we get started, before I give y'all any other... wait a minute. My phone wasn't on silent. I was hearing myself speak. Okay, so here we go. Click that follow button to follow the JP8 report, and then hit that like button. Every episode, click that like button, and then chat. Right now, none of my hall monitors are on. That'd be Covite for Life and Retired Rob 53. They're good friends of mine. They'll be on eventually. And then I need chatters really, really bad today. I need 9 chatters, 9 unique chatters, 9 people that's never chatted on the JP8 report, just American flag or hello or hi or whatever you want to do, okay? But that'd be great. If not, I'll deal with it. And then let's go. Let's do this. All right, America 250. I got 2 letters here. One is a very famous letter from Abigail Adams. Another is kind of long. You know what? We have so much news. I'm gonna forgo that one and just do the big one. So Abigail Adams on March 31st, 1776, wrote a letter to her husband, and it's called "Remember the Ladies." And I looked. I have this other letter, right? Can I get it from founders.archives.gov? But I could not find this in this, so there had to have been another letter that was written with this in it. So, but I'm going to read the Remember the Ladies letter, and that'll be our America 250 for this afternoon. I long to hear that you have declared an independency, and by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited power in the hands of all of the husbands. Remember, all the men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation. Abigail Adams, March 31st, 1776. All right? Pretty neat. Okay, so that being said, did my camera move? I don't know. Hey, look at that. Richard made it. So I got one of my hall monitors here. All right, Richard, you're in charge. Leave us some comments. But thanks a lot for joining in. All right, so Dalmatian. I don't have nothing new on the Dalmatian, so we'll go straight into the Iran update before we get to the big news that came from the Supreme Court a while ago. Operation Epic Fury. B-52s were used for the first time over Iran. Sucks for them, right? Israel carried out over 230 airstrikes in 24 hours. Spain and France closed their airspace to U.S. aircraft and aircraft bound for Israel. Russia is helping Iran deploy drones. The new IRGC, that's the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps commander, Ahmed Vahidi, is wanted by Interpol. Kuwaiti oil tanker was struck by a projectile this morning and was on fire. 20 tankers are supposed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz today. I don't know if that happened yet or not. That's a lot of oil. And then Iran tells Saudi Arabia the time is now to eject the U.S. from its country. And the United Arab Emirates is encouraging the U.S. to invade Iran. Brent crude oil is at $106.96 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate oil is at $102.68 a barrel. And the stock market, as of 10:30 this morning, I had to remember when I wrote it down, is at 45,680.90. That's up 464 points. All right. So that's our Iran update. Hold on. I can't believe I had to sneeze. Okay. So, where am I going? Oh, yeah. Chat and like, please, and follow. Okay, so the first thing that came out, I had my stuff already prepped on here, but the Supreme Court had an 8-1 ruling this morning, came out in favor of, against a Colorado law that was passed in 2019, which banned conversion therapy. So, Colorado and the ACLU and LBGT groups sued. They were sued and they countersued. Okay, so but Supreme Court ruled 8-1. Kajani Brown Jackson, she was the only justice that ruled against it. All right, so the Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that Colorado cannot enforce so-called conversion therapy ban regarding conversions between therapists and minors, saying the law violates the First Amendment by allowing some viewpoints but not others. The decision stemmed from a lawsuit brought by Kaylee Childs, a licensed Christian therapist, who argued her conversations with youth clients were a form of protected speech. The Colorado government says that conversations amounted to professional conduct that the state was allowed to regulate. I thought the First Amendment, that's why they, okay, never mind. Here's your sign, James. Here's your sign. At issue is, in the case of the law Colorado passed in 2019 that banned what the state government described as conversion therapy. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote the majority opinion, saying the question was before the High Court was a narrow one, and that Childs did not seek to toss out the Colorado law, but rather consider whether it would apply to therapy, that it was strictly conversational. The First Amendment stands as a shield against any effort to enforce orthodoxy in thought or speech in this country, Gorsuch wrote. It reflects instead a judgment that every American possesses an inalienable right to think and speak freely, and a faith in a free marketplace of ideas as the best means to discovering truth. However, well-intentioned, any law that suppresses speech based on viewpoint represents an egregious assault on both of those communities. That's what Justice Gorsuch said this morning. In the lone dissent, Justice Kajani Brown Jackson said the majority plays with fire in this case, and that she feared the people in this country will get burned. Before now, licensed medical professionals had to adhere to standards when treating patients. They could neither do nor say what they want. Jackson wrote, largely due to state regulation, Americans have been privileged to enjoy a long and successful tradition of high quality medical care. Okay, but 24 states in Washington, D.C. have laws in place that are similar to Colorado's that could be affected by the Supreme Court's decision. You want to need to try to upload these things into a teleprompter so I can look straight and read everything. Child's lawyer said in court papers that she believes the people flourish when they live consistently within God's design, including their biological sex. They said Childs used faith-based counseling to reduce or eliminate unwanted sexual attractions, change sexual behaviors, or grow in the experience or harmony with one's physical body. The Colorado Solicitor General, Shannon Stephen, had countered during oral arguments in October that no court had ever held that a law like Colorado's implicated the First Amendment, saying the law only applies to treatment. The state cannot lose its power to regulate over the very professionals and that licenses just because they are using words. And the Alliance Defense Freedom attorney, Jim Campbell, who argued the case on behalf of the Childs before the Supreme Court, called the ruling a significant win. Give me an American flag for the Supreme Court. 8-1 decision in favor of Christian-based counseling. That was awesome. That deserves 2 flags. No flags on the plane. This is absolute victory. All right. So that was cool. And then the next thing, before I can get into what I wrote all about a while ago, was Fang Fang Bang Bang is upset. The FBI is considering releasing the files about his alleged affair with Christine Fang Fang back several years ago. I believe it was in 2014 or something like that. But he says here he's threatening the FBI with significant legal action if the FBI decides to release the files. Eric Swalwell is threatening legal action against the Federal Bureau of Investigation as it reportedly considers releasing potential damaging files just before he faces voters in California's wide-open gubernatorial race. Lawyers for Swalwell sent a cease and desist letter to the FBI Director Kash Patel, warning the Bureau would violate federal privacy law if it moves ahead with releasing records regarding the congressman's decade-old relationship with a suspected Chinese spy named Christine Fang Fang Bang, Fang Fang Fang, but everyone calls her Fang Fang Bang Bang. Your attempt to release the file is a transparent attempt to smear him and undermine his campaign for governor of California, Swalwell's attorney Sean Hecker and Norm Eason said in a recent letter to Patel, obtained by the Associated Press. Your actions threaten to expose you, others at the FBI, and the FBI itself to significant legal liability, and indeed had a phone call. Significant legal liability. Indeed, disclosure of the investigative files would violate federal law in several aspects. The FBI did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The The DOJ precedent is 2 months prior to Election Day, which would be April 2nd. May, June, yeah. Because the California primaries on June 2nd. I see where he's coming from on that, but you got to realize they did the same thing to President Trump. He was instrumental in doing the same thing to President Trump, releasing files after files after files and made up stories after stories after stories against Trump. Now that the shoe's on the other foot and he's losing in the gubernatorial race in California, because if you did not know, he's, I believe, third or fourth place in the polls that have been coming out. The two Republicans, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, are both first and second place, and Katie Porter and I believe it's Eric Swalwell after him, or he may be one seat behind him. I know there's a 24% undecided rate in that race right now. That's right. It's a poll. It's a moment in time. That's the way I look at it. But the fact is, he set himself up a failure with this lady. I don't know if he was married at the time. I don't even know if he's married now. But that's beside the fact. The fact is, he set himself up with a Chinese national that was gathering intelligence, right? So the suspected Chinese spy, Christine Fang Fang, helped fundraise for Swalwell's 2014 House re-election campaign and placed at least one intern in his office. Swalwell cut off ties with Fang Fang in 2015 after the FBI alerted him of the suspected Chinese influence campaign. And then the Justice Department did not pursue criminal charges at the time, and Swalwell was denied any wrongdoing. A probe launched by the House Ethics Committee in 2023 concluded nothing with any violations. Seems like every time the Democrats are in charge, they don't find nothing wrong. Swalwell's lawyers accused Patel of potentially violating long-mandated DOJ policy that prohibits law enforcement from taking any public investigatory action during the political candidates in the 2 months prior to an election. So does that mean on June 3rd, if he doesn't make the top two, does that mean on June 3rd they can publish everything? Because if he doesn't make it, he can't run for re-election in Congress because he ran for governor. He'd be free game at that point, I guess. And it continues on. Swalwell says, it's not lost on me that we're 34 days until California starts voting. 34 days to start early vote, right? Hold on, let me see this. No big deal. Some couple decided that they want to publicize their dating. All right. So we will see what Kash Patel wants to do. It's only a DOJ letter. It's not like it's a law. All right. All right. So next, what we got going on? All righty. So what would you think if it was Democrats that said that in order to win in 2028, I hope everybody's sitting down on this one. All right, hold on, let me get a drink of tea real quick. So if I said, in order for Republicans to win in 2028, you would need to be a straight, white Christian man, I'd be bludgeoned as a racist, a misogynistic racist, flat out. If you agree, the press would brand me like that. Say something in the chat, because I know they would. But the comment, a straight white Christian man, came out of the words of a Democrat strategist. Believe it or not. I mean, it's not let the best person win the race. They're saying you have to be, this Democrat said you have to be straight, white, Christian man. So who said that? Democrat strategists are reporting pushing for the 2028 presidential candidate to be a, quote, straight, white, Christian man, unquote, after recent losses, and Access report alleged. Some top Democrats are quietly debating a fraught question whether the party's best bet for winning back the presidency in 2028 is to nominate a man, perhaps a straight, white, Christian man, Axios reported on Sunday. Their fear, divulged with dismay in group chats, at cocktail parties, and increasing in public, is that parts of the electorate are too biased to support a woman or other diverse candidate for president, the report continued. I got a comment here. They would have you associated with the Aryan Brotherhood. Yeah, that's true. The report, oh no, you're too funny, guy. No, man. Hey, come on. Some of y'all, come on, get involved in the chat. Have some fun with us. Okay? I think Richard needs some friends to talk with on the chat. That was good, man. That was real good. The note also, the note reported that Democrat strategists have become apprehensive after both former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and former Vice President Kamala Harris lost to President Donald Trump in their respective campaigns, although most of these comments have happened behind closed doors. So not disturbing the hundreds of other times men have lost, but a significant thing that to nominate a woman, a National Democrat strategist told Axios. Axios acknowledged that this concern would discount several high-profile candidates for 2028, including J.B. Fisker, Josh Shapiro, Ralph Deadfish Emanuel, Ruben Garrow, Senator Ruben Garrow, Ro Kahana, and Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, a.k.a. Sandy Cortez. We got to get that right. Hey, Richard, how about you run for president? That would be great. Democrat strategist, I'm waiting for the comment to come over the chat. Democrat strategists have put it bluntly, with several saying a version of it is it has to be a white guy, Axios reported. Fox News Digital reached out to the DNC for comment. Of the potential 2028 presidential candidates, Axios noted only Kentucky Governor. Oh, no, thank you. Yeah. Richard declined to run for president in 2028. Mark that day down in history right there. Flag it. No, I'm not going to run either. Okay, where we're at. Of the potential 2028 presidential candidates, Axios noted only Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, Mark Kelly, Gavin Newsom qualified as a straight white Christian man. The report followed former First Lady Michelle Obama's past comments insisting that the U.S. was not ready for a woman president. That's why I'm like, I don't even look at me about running because you are lying, because you are not a woman. You are not, she said in November. Obama doubled down on those comments during a podcast appearance in January. These men out there were not going to vote for a woman. Yeah, sure, okay. I voted for many women over the years. All right. So, what do y'all think? Is there any comment about what they're saying? Is it? Do you think it's true that the Democrats will willfully look for a straight white Christian man to top the ticket in 2028? I know we're still 3 years out from the election, or 3.5 years out from the election, or something like that. 2.5 years. Wow, it is 2.5 years. Wow. Because President Trump's candidacy, his presidency is like half over almost. Um, but what do y'all think? Anyone wants to comment on this one? Do the Democrats have any chance of winning if they get a straight white Christian guy? Y for yes, N for no. Well, I vote in. They don't have a chance in 2028 no matter what. Yep, there we go. All right. So yeah, because personally, I don't think they have what it takes for any potential female out there to actually win the presidency. Whitmer is no good. Um, AOC, she's a flaming socialist. Then you have Hobbs. Um how will they recognize him? They can't describe a woman. You're killing me, man. I am so glad you're listening. That is really good. I did not even think about that, man. That was really good. That was really good. Duh. You ought to see that. So, Covite for life. What I'm saying is, how will they recognize him if they can't describe a woman? He is he is right on the money. I didn't even think about it. That was really, really good. Man, wow. Okay. Maybe I need to drag you over here to Copper's Cove and help me do my podcast. We can do a tag team event, doing our podcast every day. Let's see. So continue on with the election, right? Yeah, but personally, I don't think anyone that the Democrats put up because they're too far left would be able to overcome the Republicans in 2028. I don't even think Andy Beshear could even do that either. And he's supposed to be the moderate of moderate Democrats. All right. Um, James Comer, he put out a statement talking about the 2020 census. And what he was saying was that it's not too long. And I agree with it too. The way the census was conducted during COVID was not right. They refused to put questions in the census to ask, and I think they were using sampling. We'll get more into it while we're reading. But the goal of the census is to get as accurate number as possible on Census Day to determine the population of the United States. It's required by the Constitution every 10 years, and it's for to be able to apportion congressional seats throughout the country. All right. We haven't always had 438. I couldn't tell you right now how many we started with, but I do know that every state has two senators. We go with that one right there. But over the course of the history of our country, they have increased the number of seats in the House of Representatives with our population and growth of states. Just so you know that, okay? House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer said Monday his committee has received information showing the United States Census Bureau in 2020 miscalculated the number of Americans in a way that cost Republicans multiple House seats. Comer claimed the basic count was biased against Republicans because the Bureau made estimations instead of doing a physical count during the COVID-19 pandemic. The estimated high in Democrat areas like major cities and underestimated the suburban areas known to be more Republican friendly. The basic count was misguided miscounted grossly in the last sentence in the tune of costing Republicans anywhere from 4 to 5 congressional seats, Comer said on Just the News No Noise TV show. We lost because the Census Bureau was biased. If you go back when the census was taken the last time, it was during COVID. No one knocked down anybody's doors because of COVID, and they ended up estimating. They overestimated Democrats in the Democrat areas, which are in the urban, rundown communities across America, and they undercounted in the suburban areas, which are Republican, the fastest growing areas. Comer said California, New York, Rhode Island should have lost more House seats than they did in that Florida and Texas should have gained at least one new member of Congress because of the exodus during the pandemic. We'll get more on that in just a second. This was a census that really messed up and is aired on the side of Democrats and against Republicans, and I hope that the mistake is not made again. Now that we got a one vote majority in the House of Representatives, if we had a 5 vote majority, there would be we would be nowhere where we have no man where we didn't have to worry about much about Thomas Massey when we could have probably been able to. We could have passed a lot more of President Trump's agenda. Comer said he's committed to making sure the next census count is more accurate. No inaccurate reporting by the Bureau is not done again. So what my guess is that, hold on. Same thing. Okay, so he said 1. Okay, so Texas at reapportionment, we gained 2 additional congressional seats, right? We were anticipating 4. Not 2, not 3, 4. Could you imagine us having 40 congressional seats in the state of Texas? That would be unbelievable. Because if we gained 2 more, that means pretty much California would have lost 2 more. That's how much they're losing. They said over the last 5 years, LA County has been losing 50,000 people a year out of their city. And hopefully when they move this way, they don't bring their Democrat politics with them, and they have a chance at moving. Resetting my phone. Okay. So we have to be patient. Well, first we got to get out past this mid-cycle craziness that's going on. Like with, we already settled ours. We did ours legally, but we got states like California. I can't believe they got away with theirs. And then Virginia, I can't believe they're getting away with it. But I do believe there's still a couple of legal cases left on it. But you got to win races, no matter what. But that's a serious matter. If you remember back in 2018, I think it was, the Trump administration filed a lawsuit. They wanted to add a question to the census to ask everybody that was being sampled, was that, are you an American citizen? They want to track how many immigrants and illegal immigrants were being surveyed for the census, so it would be an accurate accounting of what was going on. But the court system says no. The law says you have to do it by the 5-year mark. They're already on track for that, so that's one thing we don't have to worry about. But we'll see. We'll see. I do believe we're on track to not getting 2, but I bet if I was to be able to bet on that, when we do the next apportionment, I do believe Texas would achieve 3, maybe 4 more. We got people all over the place in this state. So I'd be prepared for between 2 and 4 additional congressional seats in Texas in 2032. If you agree with me, say something in the chat. If not, I'm going to move on to another election thing. Well, and you know what? I need to keep track of what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, by the way, tomorrow there's a very major Supreme Court hearing that's going to be going on. It's it's in regards to the 14th Congressional Amendment, constitutional amendment for birthright citizenship, and they're going before the Supreme Court. They get a ruling if illegals or legals come to the United States and they have a baby. Are those babies automatic naturalized citizens? I'm not going to answer that one. I have my own views on it, but the Supreme Court will make that decision probably in June, and I bet that one may be the last one that that comes out of the Supreme Court, right? So. Oh yeah. So it was like, man, I'm looking at a piece of paper. It ain't nothing but birthright citizenship because I didn't print nothing off because I spoke a little bit earlier. All right. So thanks a lot for the comment there, Richard. Appreciate it. Anybody else have any comments? We got 8 people live online right now. I'd appreciate your comments to see how you lean on it's about birthright, birthright babies like Covite for Life. Just they call them anchor babies, thinking they can stay in the country if they have a kid and it's an American citizen. So onward, still talking about upcoming elections. Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich wrote an article. And it's called Democrats Could Get an Alarm-Waking Wake-Up Call in the 2026 election, which is about 8 months away. Despite all the current polling and constant comments of the professional analyst class, the Democrats have the biggest problems going into the 2026 election. People know they have unpopular values. Their big government socialist model or taxing, spending, and bureaucracy don't work. The Democrats' key institutions have long histories of performance failure, and the dominance of the hard left in the Democrat Party that focuses Democrats leaders Chucky Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries into painfully tone-deaf positions, and all represents a huge burden, weakening the likelihood of a major Democrat victory this fall. Consider some of the burdens that the Democrats are carrying as they campaign this summer and fall. As America's New Majority Project polling showed, Americans are deeply opposed to tax increases. 77% oppose tax increases. Every single Democrat in the House and Senate voted against tax cuts and in favor of the largest tax increase in history. Where am I at? I looked up at my phone and lost track of where I was at. The simple verifiable fact is that will loom large in September and October. Americans are deeply opposed to letting males in girls' locker rooms or crowding out women in sports. That's 66%. Americans are overwhelmingly opposed to government taking control of children without involving parents. That's 73%. For some reason, transgenderism is a major value in the Democrat Party, and Democrats are overwhelmingly tied to policies that values Americans reject on a ratio of 4-1. Democrats feel ideologically and psychologically compelled to favor protecting illegal immigrants over controlling the border, and they favor criminals over strengthening the police. They support more than open borders over the unique success of Trump's administration has had in controlling the borders. Okay, and so as we celebrate our 250th anniversary, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, at least 40% of Democrats support that they are ashamed of America and in regard to founding fathers as bad people who owned slaves, demonstrated against women, and stole the country from Native Americans. That's a blatant socialist story that's completely untrue. All right. Wow. Um, the lack of patriotic solidarity shows itself involving Venezuela, Iran, and even the sinking of boats carrying drugs into America, with solid exception of Pennsylvania Democrat John Fetterman. Elected Democrats are virtually unanimous in putting a partnership above patriotism and seeking to undermine President Donald Trump's overseas than to help America's position. The Democrats are also awakened to personality and corruption. In his personality traits, you could hardly help the Republicans more by matching Schumer up against John Thune. Thune comes out as cold, tired, and out of touch. He has spent so many years in Washington, he speaks with insider language and simply does not reach out to most Americans. The current fight over funding in the Department of Homeland Security is a case in which Democrats' tone deafness about the concerns of American people to some Democrat left-wing strategists inside isolated in Washington, D.C. or New York. It may seem to deliver and encourages to cut off funding to the Transportation Security Administration and put pressure on Trump. However, on the 13-year veteran apprentice in the White House sees chaos and long lines seen at airports to threat Democrats, not Republicans. So this goes on and on and on, and basically it's all about getting people, it's all about turnout, all right? And then, you can look at all these political science consequences, but until you get precinct chairs like me out into the neighborhoods and knock on doors and talk to people, we're not going to change a thing. You can have all the data capabilities around you, but unless you are able to physically talk to a constituent or a possible constituent, you're not going to get anywhere, and then those people will probably go and vote for somebody else besides you. All right? There's a chance we can run away with it, and there's a chance we can get our butts handed to us. I really hope we're the first one. I don't know. We'll have to see. But no red wave talk at all. Just pound the dirt, knock on doors, kiss babies, and flip pancakes. All right? All right. We're at 12:44. We're doing pretty good here. Let me thumb through this real quick. Yeah, I want to do this one. We're going to keep on the deal about voting, all right? Because voting is the probably one of the most important things we could do as a country is vote. This comes Dateline out of Georgia. Is Georgia ever on your mind? All right. So the Georgia Senate passed revamped legislation requiring hand-marked ballots. Alrighty, man, I keep slipping in my chair. Hold on. I have an interview in about 2 hours, and I hope I don't lose my voice. But I want to go over this stuff with y'all. All right? Because this stuff is passionate. All right, so excuse the cough drop, because if I don't get one, I'm going to be doing sign language over the microphone. 3 weeks after Georgia Senate failed to pass a bill requiring hand-marked ballots on the November elections, a revamped House bill with the same requirement was approved. In its original form, Covite says, I can't talk about original states, but what about Louisiana's practice in the Texas statehood? The Louisiana purchase in Texas statehood. We could talk about that at some point in time. So if you're talking about, what do you call it? About the independence for Texas to be able to separate into a foreign country, or our own country. You got people, the Texans people, and they're interpreting the Texas Constitution wrong, that we can't be an independent country. There was the rumor that we could split into 5 states. That's wrong also. People just need to break out the 1876 Texas Constitution, and in Clause 1, Article 1, Clause 1 says that we can't, okay? That we are part of the United States. But yeah, talk to me later, Richard, about that, okay? And let me know if you and Greg are going to go to the Dead Fish Grill on Thursday for Pints and Politics. Okay, so the original form, House Bill 960, would have added a 12th Superior Court judge to Gwinnett Judicial Circuit. The amended bill presented by Judge Dozel of Cumming said on Friday contained some of the same language as Senate Bill 568, which failed on crossover day. The bill, House Bill 960, still requires hand-marked ballots for the November 2026 general election and require the manual recount in some elections. The new version reduces the $10,000 fine for election boards they're facing for each ineligible voter to $100. Elections, yeah, but it still adds up really fast. Election officials, we bought one, not steal them. Election officials will be also required to have pre-printed ballots at each voting location and publish a voter turnout list by 11:59 p.m. on election night. The Senate Minority Whip, Kim Jackson of Stone Mountain, Georgia, said pre-printed ballots would be a challenge in DeKalb County. We have 400 different ballot styles, Jackson said. So what does this bill requires DeKalb County to do? With no funding to help with that, by the way, it is to make sure that all 432 permutations of the ballots are on location at every single voting and every single early voting location. We have built in all kinds of opportunity for human error, let alone major security risk of concerns that I have when you have thousands and thousands of pre-printed ballots sitting in someone's fellowship hall. The bill comes at a cost to local election officials. Joseph Kirk, president of the Georgia Association of Voter Registration and Election Officials and Barstow County's election supervisor, said in an interview that the center square that with the center square that he does not yet have a feel for what the price tag would be to print the additional paper ballots. We're printing more paper ballots, and we probably need to be on the safe side. That's a lot of stacks at the paper sitting round. Senate Democrats spent more on 1 hour giving speeches opposing the bill than the 32-31 passing on party lines. No Republicans spoke in favor of the bill. At its core, see, that's another thing, but we talked about it the other day. Stone Mountain Democrat Randall Mangum said the bill's version was like Groundhog Day and called it a conspiracy theorist wish list dressed up as legislation. I hate this. I need to learn how to. Okay, this is a concentrated effort from Washington, D.C. all the way to Georgia, and that's the problem we have here. We're attacking democracy at its core. Dolezal defended the bill, saying it was time for the state to go hand-marked paper ballots. He showed a map outlining green states that have hand-marked paper ballots. All that we're asking for Georgians to do is to become queen, to vote the way that the vast majority of people in America vote. The House of Representatives would have to approve the amended bill, House Bill 960, before it would go to the Governor Brian Kemp's desk. The bill is opposed by the Georgia Association of Voter Registration election officials. This is not easy as flipping the light switch. It takes time, and the timeline contemplated House Bill 966. I do believe this still got to be seen by the. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so hand-marked ballots and time frame is midnight on election night. I think that's a really good deal. We need to actually. We might need to think about doing that. First, we got to finish closing our primaries, right, guys? All right. It's at 12:52. So AOC is in trouble. AOC spent $19,000 of campaign money on a psychological therapist. $19,000 she took from her campaign and spent it. All right. Far left squad members Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez violated federal law and House ethics committees by misusing nearly $19,000 in campaign cash last year on a shrink who specializes in controversial ketamine therapy. A bombshell new complaint claims. Okay. DC-based National League and Policy Center filed a joint complaint Friday with the Federal Elections Commission and the Office of Congressional Conduct, demanding both enforcement agencies probe and Ocasio-Cortez. Her Congressional Campaign Committee and Treasurer Frank Llewellyn said that the government watchdog group wants authorities to determine whether the money paid to Boston-based Dr. Brian Boyle was fraudulent, documented with official filings and leadership training and consulting. There is a reason to believe that AOC's use of campaign funds to pay for a psychiatrist who has no experience in leadership training was not for a bona fide federal campaign or political purposes, but rather for personal psychiatric therapies for AOC and her campaign staff. The group's counsel, Paul Kennar, wrote in the campaigns, using congressional campaigns for personal use is prohibited by law, and visitors face fines up to 5 years in prison, and they could not be forced to. They could also be forced to reimburse the campaign fund out of the pocket of any other misspent money. The NLPC requested the commission to impose appropriate penalties and disciplinary sanctions on AOC. All right. What are y'all's views on that? Because $15,000, $19,000 is a lot of money. I don't see that. I wish I could. They have federal campaign finance rules there for a reason, and a lot of Democrats just thumb their nose at it, and they don't really care. All right. We're at 12:56. So as I'm being prepared to sign off, one last chance for any additional people to chime in on the live chat or to leave comments also. All right. I'm gonna read these tomorrow. All right. So I did. I got an interview in 2 hours with Rob Irwin. He's running for county judge here in Coryell County. And the only person that really walked out of the race was, I believe, was it? I don't know, man. See, I lost track of that one too. Okay, let me start this back over. Okay, so interviews. I got an interview in 2 hours with Rob Irwin. I got another interview on Thursday with Scott Weddle. I did yesterday. I did Justin Smith, all from Coryell County campaigns. I got David Bass. I did yesterday also. I haven't heard nothing back from the current county judge, Roger Miller, but I just did an invite, like I was alluding to, for the Copperas Cove Conservative Club on the 14th of January. And then we're going to be going over different stuff about the primaries, about the runoffs, and that I personally sent an invite to Tully Meyer, Justin Smith, Ray Ashby, Scott Weddle, Rob Irwin, and Roger Miller to come to the Copperas Cove Conservative Club on the 14th in the mini meet and greet with actions to be able to talk to the candidates, right? And that's part of, we're going to do the same thing again on May 2nd up in Gatesville for the Coryell County Republican Party at the feed mill, and then back to Copperas Cove on the 12th of May at Giovanni's with us again. And we're going to do combined Coryell County Republican Party and Copperas Cove Conservative Club. And that's going to take place on the 12th of May. And on the 18th of May is when early voting starts through the 22nd. So we're going to have our meet and greets right before the actual voting day. All right. Got to get on taxpayers' money. There we go. All right. So we're going to cut it at that. I got to get ready for this interview. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. I got two rollover women. I got 3 rollovers for tomorrow morning. So one's about communists, one's about unethical Democrats and others about a union that screwed over MAGA members. So we'll check on that, right? So my socials, if you want to get a hold of me. Go back. There we go. I'm on X at James Pierce Jr. I'm on Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr. I'm on ScrewTube at the JP8 Report 67. And I'm on True Social at James A. Pierce. All right. Stick around in a couple hours if you want to hear Rob Irwin. It's going to be live on this channel right here. The chat will be open for people. The chat, that would be great. But other than that, I'll see y'all tomorrow morning on the morning brief at 6:30 to 7, and then the JP8 report at 12 to 1. Remember, Good Friday. If on Good Friday there is no podcasting going on for me on the morning or the afternoon, unless there's a major news event happening, and that'll probably be the actual JP8 report if I do that. Okay. Other than that, I'm not going to do a podcast. So if something happens and I feel like I want to let people know about it and give them a chance, because I know a lot of other podcasters that are going to be doing replays and stuff, but I'm going to put myself on alert to be able to get ready for that. All right. So I will check y'all later. This is James Pierce with the JPA report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.